Okay, well, my name is Gary Hauck. I'm Dean for Instruction and Student Development at Montcalm Community College. Today is July 3rd, 2014, and today we have Ken Smith and his wife, Jacqueline. And now, Jacqueline, were you on the faculty here as well at MCC? You supported the man who was.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so...
I was a teacher.
You were a teacher?
Kindergarten teacher.
Oh, where at?
At St. Louis, Michigan.
Oh, St. Louis, Michigan. Okay, very good. You folks live there evidently in St. Louis or in that area?
We live in Alma.
In Alma,
She
okay.
used to drive all of 2 or 3 miles, and I had to drive 30 miles.
Oh my, okay, yeah, you had quite a trek. And, you know, we're going to be not only using this for the book on MCC history, but putting this in a time capsule so that a half a century from now, folks will bring this back out, figure out how to use an antique DVD, and watch and listen to this. So they who listen to this will hear the name Smith and realize that that Ken Smith, you, sir, are Scott Smith's father, who is now, in 2014, chairing our chemistry department and is one of our beloved science professors at Montcalm Community College. But today is your day, so we're looking forward to hearing from you about your personal history at MCC. When did you start teaching here?
I don't remember the exact date, but I taught here 45 years.
Wow.
But the way I had taught in a little town called Elmont.
Elmont.
First I went to Alma College and got my bachelor's degree.
Okay.
Then I taught in Elmont for a couple of years. Then we went to Benton Harbor and I taught there a couple more years. Then I taught in Birmingham at Birmingham Seaholm for a couple of years.
Alabama?
No, Birmingham, Michigan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, down by Detroit.
Didn't realize that.
Anyway, in high school, one of my music teacher, vocal music teacher, was a guy named Don Fink.
Oh.
And when we were in school, the boys all used to take girls' bobby pins, which they were called then.
Yeah, sure.
Separate them like that, tie a rubber band around them, and
Sure.
then shoot BBs with them.
Oh, yeah.
So you'd be sitting in class and you'd hear, ow, you know, and so forth.
I know all about that.
Well, anyway, Don Fink was, one time after one of our concerts, he was my music teacher, and after one of our concerts, this was in high school, I was helping him clear the stage and get the stuff off, you know. And I leaned over to pick up a riser, and as I leaned over to pick up a riser, one of my BBs fell out of my pocket.
Oh,
in fact, a whole bunch
no.
of them fell off and rolled on the stage. And so, many years after that, I came up here to Montcalm Community College and to interview for a job because I see they had an opening in biology. And so I walked into, at that time the president's office was over in the farmhouse. I don't know if it still is or not. But
It's not, but okay.
anyway, that's where it was. Anyway, I walked in and this his secretary said, well, Dr. Fink will see you now. And I didn't even think anything about it. And I walked in there and oh my gosh, it was the guy that I had been really chewed out in high school for.
Oh, he chewed you out for it?
Yeah,
Oh,
for shooting BBs.
My gracious.
But he didn't say anything about it at the...
He didn't remember you maybe, or? If
Oh,
he,
no,
if
I'm
did,
sure he
He was
remembered.
just too kind.
He was just being kind.
He was being kind.
Yeah.
That's something. So, what school again was that where this happened with the BBs? What school?
That was in Alma High School.
Alma High School.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's where I graduated from
And he
high
was a
school.
teacher of music. Isn't that something? This is amazing.
Yeah, Don Fink was our music teacher at that time there.
Well, that brings the question another question I had for you. I've seen in our board minutes that you directed some music groups here on campus,
Yeah.
and even co-conducted some with Don Fink when he was president.
Yeah.
So tell me about that. What groups did you direct, and did you start those groups?
No, I don't. I wouldn't say I started them, but when I was asked if I would start them, I was glad to do it. I thought that would be fun.
Okay.
And yeah, we had several good music groups. We had, well, I've always been interested in barbershop quartetting.
Okay, yeah.
And
that's
so we had our own barbershop quartet that was within one of those choirs.
right. Who sang in that besides you?
Harley Blake and me and Jeff Blake, and I can't remember who sang the other part.
Okay, that's all
But
right.
anyway, we used to do a lot of singing around this area, you know, but that's been a number of years ago. And then I also directed the choir, the college choir at that time. And then I much later in my career here, I started well, actually it wasn't while I was still teaching music, after I was done teaching music, but they still had a choir going, but they were not having much success. And so I suggested we start a group, and we called it Alumni and Friends. And so that group
Still going on.
has been very successful.
Still going on today. And then a pep band, didn't you?
Yeah,
start
I
the
had a pep band. I also had a jazz band. Yeah,
So did you teach music and biology here?
yeah. Yeah, I taught some of the elementary courses in music.
How about that? And who taught that before you came here? Do you know who that would have been?
I didn't know, I'm not sure if they had anyone.
So you may have been the first.
I think I started.
And Val took it over from you?
Yeah.
Val Vandermark?
Yeah.
Okay. Isn't that something? And then, as I think I mentioned, I read somewhere that you and Don Fink co-conducted one of the years?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Was it more than 1 year, or was it just one
I don't
special?
really remember.
Okay. How did that work? What was he like to work
Oh,
with
he
in
was
that
fine.
capacity? Yeah.
He was a nice guy. He
Good.
just, the thing about the BBs and all
That's cute.
that was not Don Fink really. I mean, he wasn't the kind of guy that would really chew you out for something
Right.
like that. but
Sure.
he was a very nice person.
Good. So you would have been here for Don and also for
Liquidor.
Cliff Bedore and Herb Stoutenberg and
Yes.
and Don
And Don.
Burns. So you were here for 4 presidents.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So from your perspective, what were some of the similarities and differences with the administrations of the school over those time periods that you were here? Anything that comes to mind?
Not really. It's
Okay.
they've always been good to work with. And,
Good.
And they supported our programs.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, when Val came, I suggested we try that Alumni Friends group, you know, and they were very supportive of that,
Mm-hmm.
and that still continues.
Yes.
I don't think you have any band or anything anymore, but
We do. A Philharmonic orchestra that just started last year.
oh, great.
And we have the conductor of the Greenville Middle School, Jeff Ayers, or Ayers, who is the conductor of that. So
Great.
we had them with a combined concert with the Philharmonic and the choir last fall and last spring.
Good.
I was able to get monies allocated from our Ash Cultural Enrichment Fund to get that started. So we
We might
have.
have come to those, didn't we? We went to something recently.
Oh, you may have. We had.
No, we just went to graduation last
Oh.
year.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
That,
Hey, where was graduation held when you were here those first few years?
I think it started in the gymnasium,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
but then they moved it to Central Montcalm.
Right.
And it's
Okay.
been there ever since.
Okay. Yeah, I did read earlier on. It may have preceded you when they had some outdoors in the atrium, what they call the atrium,
Mhm.
and I think 1 year even over in North when they had the aviation graduation going on over there. But I know that we did
Yeah.
have them in our own gym for many years till we outgrew that. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Mm-hmm. So you taught biology and botany?
Yeah, biology, botany, I even taught chemistry some of the time.
Okay.
I taught French for a little while.
Oh, you taught French.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. and
And
you-
then mostly science. So.
Okay. And you chaired the science department.
We didn't really have,
You didn't call them chairs per se,
No,
but you coordinated
but
that.
I was part of the department, yeah.
Sure. And those labs were all over in East at that
Mhm.
point?
Yes.
Okay. Pretty well equipped early on?
Pardon me?
Pretty well equipped early on?
Oh, yes,
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, they were very good about providing us with microscopes and
Mhm.
stuff that we needed, to teach. And
Was that already here when you came, or did you have to solicit some of that material when you came?
I think I had to ask for it.
Okay.
Uh,
So you helped to launch those
yeah,
programs.
right.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
What might be some major events that occurred during your time here that stick out in your mind? Anything unusual or that for some reason capture your interest as you think back over the years?
Well, one that interests me is the one I just told you, that Don Fink hired me. But when I walked into his office, I had no idea who Don Fink was.
Yeah.
And I thought, this job is down the tube. He's never going to hire me. So he hired me.
Oh, that's great.
Uh,
You also shared a story before we turned the camera on today about your office mate. You said they had two in an office, and were you
Yeah.
in the East at that time?
Yes.
Okay.
My office partner was Frank Fischel. He was the math teacher. And we had a lab assistant, Linda Alice, her name was. She is from Greenville. And Frank and I used to get into some very heated discussions about various things, And she said to me one day, "You must really hate Dr. Fischel." And I said, "No, he's my best friend."
You had good conversations.
Oh, yeah, we had
Lively
lots of
conversations.
conversations. Lively,
Yeah.
yes, very much.
Yeah, I can see that. Scott can get very passionate too. We,
Oh, I'm
we have
sure.
some fun conversations with Scott as well, so I can understand that. So during your time here, then, I guess you saw the building of, well, this was already here.
Right.
Admin was here, and East was here, and North was here. So you probably saw the building of West and of the activities building
Yes.
and Dozer, and was Ash? When did you retire? What year was your retirement
I
year?
don't really remember.
Okay, so Ash might not have been started yet when you
I
retired.
don't think so.
Okay, yeah, okay. So you saw a lot of development and growth
Oh, yeah.
with the college over the years.
Yeah. Yeah, we used to, like our choir group and some of the small ensembles, we traveled throughout the area and sang for a lot of clubs like the Lions Club,
Oh, yeah.
etc. And one thing that always sticks in my mind was one of my basses in the choir was Jeff Blake, and his dad was Duke Blake, who was a faculty member here, taught English. But anyway, Jeff was in my choir, and we were singing at a church down here on this road. I can't remember the name of the church down there. It's on Sydney Road.
The Lutheran church?
Yeah.
Okay.
And my choir was singing, and there was a guy sitting in the front row, and he had a suit and tie on, but he kept heckling Jeff Blake because Jeff Blake had just gotten back from Vietnam. And his hair was long, and he had a beard, and he looked, kind of unkempt. And so this guy started picking on Jeff, and I took just about enough of it, and I turned around and I grabbed him by his tie, and I said, "You better shut your mouth. This guy just got back from Vietnam protecting the rest of us Americans. Now shut up and sit down." Yeah.
I'm sure he did at that point in
Oh,
time.
yes, he did. But I'll never forget that.
Well, yeah, I guess not. Nor he.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah, I have no idea who the guy was.
Yeah. Wow.
It was interesting.
I would guess. So I'm thinking that the classes that you had and the ensembles you had would have been quite small in number in those early years.
They were a lot bigger than the ones that they have now.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh,
So
yeah.
what would have been the average size class you had in biology, for example?
Oh, in the classroom, I don't know. That's probably the same as it is
Is it?
now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought you meant in terms of the size of the.
Sure. And the ensembles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It would have been bigger than it is now. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
We were pretty good size.
Very interesting. Oh, very good.
Yeah.
And now I know a couple of murders happened on campus here. I don't know if you recall those or not. A student and also a professor, faculty downtown in Grand Rapids that lived down there, and a student, and we're tracing the history of those as well. I'm trying to think what other kinds of things may have occurred here. I know we had a basketball team.
Yes, we did.
And so the pep band no doubt played for the
Oh,
team. Okay.
Yeah.
So you had how many in the band, the pep band? 7, 8?
Oh no, we probably had, well, the whole band. Our whole band wasn't that big,
Okay.
but we probably had 10 or 12 at least in the pep band.
No, that's good.
Yeah, and we had a lot of fun together.
I'll bet you did.
Yep.
You play for all the home games and
Yes.
also away games, or no?
I don't remember doing any away games.
Okay.
No.
Hmm. And you had the Miss Centurion, I guess, or the Centurion Queen that you had on an annual basis. I don't know if you remember anything about that at all.
Mm-mm.
But what other changes have taken place over the years, except for the team going away and the buildings that were built? And
Well, the buildings particularly, and then my last couple of years here, we started the nature trail.
Yes.
It starts over here on this, what is it, Brown Road?
Yes. Yeah.
And goes all the way back through the woods and then back down here. I started that, and I felt that was a very successful venture.
Mm-hmm.
And then I used to take my kids over to the Vestberg Bog. It's owned by Alma College, but it's just outside of Vesterberg. There's this lake, but it's a bog really, and you have to be real careful on walking on the mat, or you could go through.
Right through.
You know.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of fun out there because that's an entirely different group of plants that grow in that habitat. You
It
know.
would be.
So that was fun. Friend of mine, a teacher that I had in Alma College, he introduced me to that when I was going to Alma College. So I decided if I ever got to be a teacher, I was going to take my kids out there too.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Good for you.
Dr. Edgar, Arlen Edgar.
Who else taught with you here? Who else was on the faculty?
Mrs. Stewart was the science
Okay.
teacher besides me.
Okay.
That's about all we had.
All right. And other faculty at large in general studies or in vocational areas?
Well, Frank Fischel in math.
Yeah.
And boy, I don't remember very many of the rest of them.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah,
It's been quite a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, I've talked with Les Morford, of course.
Yeah,
and
Les was here.
and Jesse
my
Fox.
last-
You
yeah.
probably know Jesse
Those
Fox.
guys were
yeah.
here. The latter part of my tenure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And but Frank Fischel and Herb Hood was another one of the early guys, and he was more in the business area.
Sure.
He was from Mount Pleasant, but
And John Pastor, I guess.
John
taught,
Pastor
English.
was here then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you talked about a Herb Blake and a Duke Blake.
No, Herb Hood.
Right, but earlier on you talked about
Duke.
Jeff Blake
And his
his dad was Duke.
Duke.
Okay, not Herb Blake, but Duke
No.
Blake. Okay.
I'm trying to think of his real name.
Okay.
Can't remember.
No, that's all right.
Never called him anything other than Duke.
Okay, and Duke was the one in the quartet with you and,
Yeah.
and Jeff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I heard your group sing last year when you came through with the barbershop quartet during Christmas time.
Oh,
when you-
really?
yeah, that was
Oh.
nice. Out across the hall on the other side there. That was
Wow.
nice. That was very good.
Huh.
But what else might be of interest to our folks, Ken, that you can think of from your days here? Anything else? Any stories or anecdotes?
Well, no real interesting stories, but I just think it's been a very marvelous addition to this community. And I've had so many good students. In fact, I still run into my former students walking into Walmart store or someplace, in Alma. And it's just such a good feeling to run into these kids and find out that they are being successful in life too, you know.
Absolutely.
And it's so unique, right out in right out
Yeah.
in
It
nature.
is.
Oh, yeah,
It
this
is really a
beautiful
wonderful
campus.
place.
It is
It's
a great
beautiful.
place. I
In fact,
agree.
that's one thing that has bothered me for a long time as to why we have graduation down at Central Montcalm when I'd rather see it right here on
Where
campus in
people
the
could see
gym.
this
Yeah.
beautiful place.
Because I think people need to realize or need to see how beautiful this campus really is.
Yeah, and Bob Ferrantino feels the same way, but we just can't fit all the folks over in this
Sure,
gym.
I
so,
understand.
Yeah, but it's a
Yeah.
shame because we feel the same way. We'd love
But
to have
it's,
folks here.
to me, it's just a very beautiful, like you said, we even used to have a basketball team here
Yeah.
for a
Mhm.
few years, not very long.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, that's right.
yeah.
You probably were here then during the switch between paper and pencil and computerization for
Oh, yeah, I'm
report
sure.
cards and
Yeah.
admissions and those
Yeah, I
kinds
know.
of things.
In those days, we didn't even hardly know what a computer was.
Okay, yeah. Were you here when the school became computerized? Were you still here at that time?
I'm sure I was, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I didn't use computers, so
Okay.
I'm not real familiar with that.
I
Okay.
forgot to take that class.
That's all right. Yeah, that's not a problem.
I don't
Not a
even know
problem.
if they had those at Michigan when I took my master's done. I'm sure they did.
Oh, you're a Wolverine.
Yeah,
How about that?
yeah.
I forgive you.
You must have gone to state.
I did. There's my Sparty up there on the
Oh,
wall.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I should have
They do.
realized that. Yeah, no, I don't know, we just had a real good time. We all got along really well together and everything, the faculty, and the students were, and I keep running into my students over in Alma, you know, like I said, and it's really wonderful to have them come up to you and say, Mr. Smith, you know, it's cool.
That's cool.
I had the best ever kindergarten.
Oh,
Yeah, she taught kindergarten in St.
Yeah.
Louis.
29 years in St. Louis,
wow.
yeah.
That's very wonderful.
That was so much fun. Those little kids are so cute.
Oh, well, that explains why Scott was reared so well from the get-go, because he had you at home and he had his dad here later on, so he had the best of both worlds. So,
Oh,
did he have you in kindergarten? Did
What
you have
was it?
Scott? Did you have Scott as one of your kindergarten students?
My own son?
Yes.
No.
No. Okay.
No.
All right. That would have been fun.
Yeah, it would have been.
That's great.
I don't know if it would have been for him, but
But he had two educators as parents, so
Yes.
that certainly speaks to why he is so educationally oriented today.
Yeah.
That's really a blessing.
he knew we were very happy with our occupations.
Yeah, good. Yeah, and that's important because kids pick up from us
Yeah.
around the dinner table or whatever, whether or not we do or don't like our jobs and our context. And
Scott has turned out to be a big reader. He likes to read,
oh yeah,
but he
yes,
doesn't.
He does.
He doesn't read just common books. He reads
Oh, I know he
intellectual
does.
books.
I know he
and,
does. Yeah,
I am real pleased with that. I think that's really cool.
I totally agree with that.
And he's also turned out to be a musician. I mean, you know, on the side.
Yes.
And he plays a lot and sings a lot.
Mhm. Yes, he
And in
does.
fact, all of our kids. My youngest son is the jazz band director up at Central Michigan
Oh,
University.
really?
Yeah. And he has been there for several years. And then my oldest son, Kevin, he's taught in different schools, but he's been in Ithaca for some time, and he has the band there,
Mhm.
and
That's wonderful.
other. He also has choir and band and smaller bands too.
Ken, were you a part of the restoration project for the barn to turn into a barn theater?
I didn't have anything to do with it, but I remember playing in there and singing in there
Okay.
early on, and I thought it was really kind of neat.
Yeah. Where did you guys perform before the barn theater? Just over in
Just-
West?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's see, yeah, I think that was mostly it.
I know we still have Auditorium 1 and 2 over in West.
Yeah,
That you
and
probably would have
I
used.
think that's was where we did all of our stuff,
Yeah. Okay.
early on anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you would have been here during the aviation program. Did you
Yes.
recall planes taking off and so
Oh,
forth
yeah.
from the field
Yeah.
over there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was very exciting.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Yeah. Jesse Fox, I think.
Yes, Jesse Fox. Yeah.
Nancy Fox was his wife.
Yeah.
She was
Art department.
art, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
The funny story I heard about that is Les Morford was saying that there was a time when the faculty were viewing Herb Stoutenberg as being a bit heavy-handed.
Mm.
And so Les was trying to make light fun of this during a faculty picnic that was on the grass across the road here. And he was talking at this faculty picnic when a plane either took off or landed. And so he said he turned to the faculty and said, "And if you don't do what Herb wants, he's going to bomb you." So I asked Les, "Did you survive that statement?" He said, "Evidently, I was still here."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I heard all the four presidents that preceded Bob Ferrantino were all very gracious men, very kind-hearted,
oh, yeah.
but they all had their unique sets of strengths that complemented the time period that they were here.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Like I said, I've already mentioned that Don Fink was my high school music teacher.
Yes.
And I got into trouble with him, with the BB business.
Yes.
But when I came up here and interviewed for a job, I was at that time teaching at Birmingham Seahole
Okay.
down in Birmingham, Michigan, teaching biology. But anyway, when I walked in, the president's office was over in the farmhouse, and when I walked in there, and his secretary said, "Dr. Fink will see you now, Mr. Smith." And so I walked in there, and I must have had a terrible look on my face because I thought, this job is down the drain, man. I'll never get this one. But he hired me.
He hired you.
Yeah.
So he caught you red-handed with those BBs back in the high
Yeah.
school.
Evidently. I don't know. Either that or he forgot about it. I don't know.
That's great.
That
That's
was
great.
funny.
That's great, Ken.
Yeah.
Anything else you can think of that would be of any interest?
Not other
I
than-
think Ken enjoyed his time here.
Oh,
Yeah.
I taught here 45
It's
years.
a long time.
And like I say, the nature trail, became a reality
Yes.
at that time. And that's really been a blessing. Like when I taught botany, I was able to take the kids out on their own land, and show them all these different plants. And it was just really great. And it's been interesting to me too to see the different ages of people that attend here.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's still that way, but back then, I can remember in my biology classes, when I'd go out on a nature trail, etc., I was kind of worried because I had some older students and I
Yes.
didn't know if they could keep up with us.
Yes.
Forget that, man. They were right
Yeah.
behind me all the way.
Absolutely, and still the same way today.
Is it?
We have a nice diversity of age on campus, which
That's
is
great.
a benefit by all means.
And that's nice, I think, for students to see older students as well as people of their own young age.
I agree.
I think that's really cool, that, and you wouldn't find that in very many places.
No, that's right. I
Like
agree.
at University of Michigan, for example, in your classes on the master's program and stuff, everybody's about the same
Very
age,
young.
and
Because
Mhm.
it's really nice if you turn 30 or something and you haven't gone to school and you want to do it, how nice that you can.
That's
Yeah.
you
right.
know?
oh yeah, that
Absolutely.
is good.
Absolutely.
It is.
Make
Yeah,
a
and
world of wonder in their
Mhm.
life,
that this place has been wonderful, I think, in the development of many young people.
Mm.
I can remember one of my last years here, I was teaching biology in this class, and this young lad is probably about 23, 24, somewhere in that age, in his early 20s, and he came up to me before the class started, and he said, "Mr. Smith, I probably am not going to be able to do very well in this class because science has never been my, strong subject." And I said, no, we're going to help you as much as you need. And if there's any questions or anything, you know, don't be afraid to raise your hand and ask. And we'll make sure you understand it. And after the class was over, their last day, the last test, he came up to me after, up by my desk, he came up to me, he said, Mr. Smith, and he had big tears in his eyes, and he said, you know, I never thought I could do this class for sure. And he said, I've been okay. And I said, not only you've been okay, you're getting an A minus.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Love when that happens.
That was a cute kid.
Yeah, and I almost wonder how many went on in science and biology
Yeah.
who got their start with you.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah, it would be wonderful to know that. Yeah, by all means.
But it has been a wonderful school in terms of all the different ages that come here, you know. I don't know if it's still that way or not.
Yeah, it is.
Is it? That's
Yeah.
good, because I can remember in my botany class, it was mainly an outdoor class,
Mm-hmm.
and I can remember one of the first times I taught, there's this old lady, she must have been 79, I think she told me she was, and I thought, oh my Lord, how am I going to do my field trips with this person, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Forget that, man. She was right behind
right
me
behind
all the way
you.
and asking me all kinds of questions about this plant, that plant, you
Yeah,
know.
that's great.
Oh, let me look it up.
Did you know Ken Lehman, who helped to finance those trails?
I know who you mean. I didn't really know.
Didn't know him personally. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. We're so grateful for him. I think he
Yeah.
was the founder of Big L Lumber.
Yeah, I knew
And,
that.
yeah, was a
Yeah.
very kind benefactor
Yeah.
of our school.
But isn't that wonderful to have on your own
Oh my
campus?
gosh, yeah.
You know, like at Elma College, that's just in the city of Elma, you
Yeah,
know.
exactly.
And in order to go, for your science students to get any experience, you have to go out like to the Vesterberg Bog
Yeah,
or whatever, you
sure.
know. And here it's all right here
Really
on
right
campus,
here in the
man.
outdoor lab. And I used to, my first year here, I would go out for lunch hour and walk around. Of course, now I eat my lunch at my desk while I'm trying to get caught up with stuff because it's just too much to get done in one day's time. But I should. I mean, a lovely day out there today, July 3rd, and it's, what, 72 degrees.
It's beautiful.
So it's a
yeah.
beautiful, picture-perfect day.
It is.
By all means.
Yeah,
Well, Ken and Jacqueline Smith, thank you so much for your interacting today with us.
you're welcome.
We're going to be sharing these things with our school family now, and also with our school family a whole few
Well,
decades from now in the process.
I cannot tell you how much this place has meant to me.
That's
It's
wonderful.
been wonderful.
Good,
And I enjoyed every minute that I was here for
good.
45 years.
Absolutely. Bless your heart.
It's a wonderful place.
Good.
And the neat thing, or not the neat thing, but one of the neat things about it is the variance of age groups that we have here, you know. Several older people as
Mhm.
well as the younger people.
Absolutely.
And they all get along fine
Yes,
together. And,
they sure do.
yep.
Thank you, sir. Don't
Yeah.
run off yet, but I want to shake your hands and say
Okay.
thank you very much. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.